The most shocking global scandal of the year has been the revelations that many had suspected and some celebrities had hinted at in various ways. Why are medical IVs, kidnappings, fear, and even Justin Bieber involved? Finally, the famous rapper, producer, billionaire, and media mogul Puff Daddy has been officially arrested and charged with numerous crimes. This story contains such shocking theories and versions that will make you rethink your attitude towards Hollywood, show business, and certain celebrities. I can guarantee that. In this video, I will quickly and concisely tell you about the biggest scandal of the year, and possibly the decade, providing facts and the most interesting details. If you like this dynamic format, subscribe to the channel and support this video with your valuable like. And believe me, we won't waste time. It's going to be quite unpleasant. For many years, there have been rumors about the criminal activities of this rapper. Briefly about him, Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, is a 54-year-old hip-hop artist, entrepreneur, and producer. One of the two rappers whose fortune was estimated at $1 billion. The first was Jay-Z, who, by the way, is closely associated with Diddy. Diddy gained fame back in the 90s, always striving to be number one, to be in the spotlight, to bathe in luxury, and to control the fates of others, which is why he went into producing. In the 90s, he collaborated with rapper Notorious B.I.G., who, in turn, had a conflict with Tupac. Everyone probably knows the sad fate of Shakur. He was shot in Las Vegas. And all these years, rumors and speculations have multiplied that it was Sean Combs, aka Diddy, who ordered the murder of the rap legend. Even Eminem jokingly mentioned this in his track Kill Shot. And just imagine how dark Diddy's hidden side is if, immediately after this joke, in the same track, Eminem decided to apologize to him. In the 2000s, Diddy was already a superstar. He had hits, colossal wealth, a successful business, and a high-profile romance with Jennifer Lopez. But over the years, he increasingly faded into the background. He was talked about less and less as an artist, and more as a businessman and a person behind whose empire terrible things were happening. If all the accusations against the rapper are proven, he faces life imprisonment. Currently, he is under close supervision to prevent him from doing anything reckless. There is even information that he is suffering from severe paranoia and refuses to eat, fearing poisoning. But let's take things in order. Even before he was accused of organizing parties where, without exaggeration, real hell was happening, information about isolated cases of violence had already leaked to the media. Back in May, American singer Casey Ventura accused her former partner, i.e., Diddy, of abuse. She released shocking footage of him throwing her to the floor, grabbing her clothes, and brutally beating her. It is known that these events took place 8 years ago. Casey claims that the rapper got her hooked on alcohol and other substances, forced her to have sex with other men, and filmed it all on camera. The video with these shots is extremely unpleasant. And the fact that Diddy settled this case out of court the very next day after the lawsuit was filed says something. Why, if he's innocent? After this incident, an avalanche of other accusations poured in on the rapper. Back in the 90s, Diddy allegedly one woman, filmed it all, and then spread the footage on the internet. Another girl, who was only 17, was, according to witnesses, gang-raped by him and other men. The third victim was also intoxicated after drinking a glass of wine offered by Diddy, which seemed to contain something other than wine, because she immediately felt sick. All these horrific events, according to the victims, took place back in the 90s and early 2000s. And now we are gradually approaching today's events. I understand that for many, Diddy is associated with childhood, as he is for me. We all listened to his legendary track, Last Night, in a duet with Christina Aguilera. Today, the whole world is already talking about Diddy's mansion, where ruthless sex parties were held. The victims were brought to complete exhaustion there, forced to do things against their will for days. So it's not surprising that rooms were found in the house, equipped almost like a medical center. More than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube were also found there. And everyone who was seen at least once at the parties arranged by the rapper came under fire: Leonardo DiCaprio, Beyoncé and Jay-Z. There will be a separate story about them, Jennifer Lopez, and Justin Bieber. Let's immediately talk about the story with Bieber. In these shots, Bieber is only 14 years old, and in the video, Diddy tells how great they spent 2 days together, an adult man and a 14-year-old boy. In these shots, Justin looks clearly depressed. Everyone knows that over the years, Bieber developed quirks, addictions, and in general, his inner world cannot be called simple. But could this somehow be related to the rapper's parties? It's quite possible. For example, in those years, Bieber's career skyrocketed to incredible heights, but at the same time, in his songs, particularly in the track Lonely, he talked about paying a high price for fame. And everyone knows his story. Just from what is known to the world, his mother posted a video on YouTube, and he became popular. But what was really behind it all? If you believe his only biography, videos began to be uploaded to YouTube, popularity found him, producers noticed him, and now he's already a star. What price for fame is he talking about then? Interesting. It will become clear now. And what meaning does the clip, "Yummy," have now, in which adult men of not very attractive appearance devour desserts? Doesn't it suggest an analogy that at the end, this dessert for the producers will turn out to be a small, pretty Bieber, who, by some coincidence, will become a world star in a year? But the boy will indeed simply be released into the world with a series of brilliant pop tracks one after another, and he will find himself at the same event with Obama himself. As you know, the dress code at Diddy's parties required all white attire. And at the end of the video, Bieber dances with adults dressed in white. Many also notice tears in the eyes of the young musician, not in the video itself, but in the backstage footage. And everything looks extremely suspicious here. Such a meteoric rise of Bieber, his incredible fear of saying even a word to the rapper. And in general, such attention from a 40-year-old man to a boy. The death of a famous singer also seems very suspicious in this story. In 1999, a fairly popular R&B singer was Aaliyah, who was then dating rapper Jay-Z. It was with her that they began to compare the young and promising Beyoncé, who would later become Jay-Z's wife. Aaliyah died in a plane crash in 2001, and rumors immediately spread that it was a planned operation by Jay-Z and Diddy, two friends, to clear the way for Beyoncé and make her famous. And allegedly Beyoncé knew about all this. Now, Jay-Z's track Allure, Karma, released 10 years ago, is being actively discussed, where the chorus and title are very consonant with Beyoncé's last name. In translation, it means, she knows, and Beyoncé's last name is Knowles. The spelling is different, but it sounds almost the same. In this track, Jay-Z says the phrase "Rest in peace, Aaliyah," and after that, "She knows" follows, which echoes with "She knows," with Beyoncé's last name. Today, there is no longer any doubt that Jay-Z was hinting at this and, in fact, had already openly said that Beyoncé was aware of this whole case. The most popular comments in America under this video are just about the same thing, that Jay-Z knew everything, and people are only finding out now. The death of Michael Jackson, with whom Diddy was close, is also being discussed. The king of pop was often associated with children in a scandalous context. Someone believes it, someone doesn't, but now his death looks even more mysterious. Maybe he knew something and was going to or wanted to talk about it. Revelations of Michael Jackson are actively discussed online, in which he tells an unknown interlocutor that he will soon be eliminated, but we cannot say with complete certainty that this conversation really took place. However, those who believe in the mystical power of numbers will be shocked by the following coincidence. In 2002, shortly after the tragic death of Aaliyah, singer Lisa Lopes, also known by the pseudonym Left Eye, gained significant popularity. She also suddenly dies in a car accident in Honduras, where she went to overcome her addictions. I want to draw your attention to the fact that in the aforementioned Jay-Z song, Allure, Karma, immediately after the words, "Rest in peace, Aaliyah," the rapper adds, "Michael Jackson and Left Eye," referring to Lisa Lopes. It seems that he is drawing parallels between these three deaths. And here's what's interesting, Aaliyah, Michael Jackson, and Lisa Lopes, they all passed away on the 25th, while Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Diddy were born on the 4th. Interpret these facts as you wish. Kanye West's eccentric antics and performances often became the object of ridicule, but now everyone has abruptly fallen silent and is saying, "It looks like we finally understood what he was hinting at." Perhaps this is what his scandalous 2016 video, Famous, is about. It depicts the aftermath of an that is, those infamous, white parties, and its participants bear a striking resemblance to Taylor Swift, Chris Brown, Kim Kardashian, and Trump. By the way, the latter admitted in an interview that he considers Diddy, on the whole, a good guy. Now the conflict between Kanye West and Taylor Swift is seen in a completely different light. Recall that in 2009, during the MTV Awards ceremony, Kanye rushed onto the stage, interrupted Taylor, and harshly criticized her. After this incident, a confrontation between the artists lasted for years. Allegedly because of West's confession, radio stations began to refuse to cooperate with him. But think about it, why on earth would radio stations care about this conflict? It is quite likely that the corresponding order came from someone at the top. They say, it's better not to deal with Kanye. Now there are assumptions that in fact, West was simply trying to protect Swift from the horrors hidden behind the scenes of show business, from Diddy's dark side. And he kind of predicted her future mega popularity and the fact that she would still appear in the Famous video. But it seems he couldn't save her. In his latest album, which was released a few months ago, Eminem ingeniously veiled, and now openly hinted at Diddy's criminal machinations. Moreover, the true meaning of these lines from the track, Fuel, was only deciphered after the arrest of Sean Combs just last week. First, listen carefully. I understand that it may be difficult to comprehend right away. Let me explain. If you swap the letters SA, then this abbreviation used by Eminem is deciphered as assault. At the same time, the rapper pronounces the word rapper letter by letter, deliberately omitting the letter P. And then he adds, "Oh, I left out one P, didn't I?" But without this letter, the word rapper turns into that is. The phrase left the P out, didn't he, sounds in English. If you say it quickly, you can hear P. Diddy. That is, Eminem seems to replace rapper with mentioning Diddy's name. Now this hint is more than obvious because it's not the first time Eminem has played with Diddy's criminal past in his tracks. I hope my explanation was clear. Sean Combs was arrested on September 17 after 6 months of investigative actions. Law enforcement officials have already stated that he could not have acted alone. And it seems that he has already been released on bail, despite its insane amount, his luxurious mansion in Miami worth $50 million, the sale of a private jet, and the obligation not to contact the victims. More than 50 people have already testified in the case. Over the course of several decades, dozens of world celebrities have passed through Diddy's infamous parties, let's call them that. And as soon as the terrible details of these events became known, all these stars, DiCaprio, Usher, and many others, automatically fell into the list of suspects in the eyes of the public. And do you have any guesses about what was really going on in this hell? The parties were called and access to them was different, by status, desire, thickness of the wallet, and so on. Weapons were found in the house. As mentioned earlier, hundreds, if not thousands, of bottles of baby oil and lube were found there. What for is not hard to guess. Many medical drips, probably intended to bring victims to their senses after violence, alcohol, or executions. A lot of evidence from potential victims covering different time periods. From isolated incidents of rape to real human trafficking, the actual transformation of them into slaves. No official charges have been filed yet, but the amount of information about the abduction of children for the purpose of selling them for the terrible acts that took place in Diddy's mansion is increasing. We are not going into details yet, so as not to be unfounded. The Justin Bieber case is the most shocking. His joint video with Diddy in adulthood, a depressed state, crazy fame and, at the same time, addiction, and numerous victims just emphasized that it was Diddy who got them hooked on illegal substances, psychological problems, and now such obvious hints at those same horrific parties. The victims claim that all the horrors they had to endure were carefully recorded on video for the purpose of subsequent blackmail. It's scary to even imagine what horrific footage these recordings might contain. It's real darkness and horror. But it's interesting that after participating in these, someone's career could suddenly go up. There's something to think about, isn't there? Now it's hard to look at any pop star whose fame flared up in the late 2000s without a certain suspicion. And this is even without taking into account the shocking story of Justin Bieber. Even Taylor Swift, who is hinted at so much, suddenly became famous after a single hit recorded with the participation of Jay-Z, a rapper who decided to help the young performer. And we have already mentioned the connections of Jay-Z with Diddy earlier. Of course, he was also a regular at those infamous parties. Why did a world-famous billionaire rapper suddenly decide to take Rihanna under his wing? If all these accusations are slander, then why did Diddy try again and again to settle matters out of court? Why does he now want so much to break out from behind bars, sacrificing his most valuable property? Wouldn't it be easier to calmly wait for the trial and prove his innocence? Or maybe he still plans to pull some backstage tricks to hush up this case. It seems that he has already resorted to something similar before. Now we have practically no doubt that the mysterious hints from rappers are all about the same thing, the same gloomy movement that Diddy organized for years. Just imagine how great his influence must be if none of the famous people have yet dared to speak about it openly. Even Bieber, who has become a key figure in pop music, seems to be afraid to say something. Although there is another assumption, allegedly Bieber is currently cooperating with law enforcement agencies and will soon provide all the necessary evidence, but for now, he simply does not interfere with the course of the investigation. Support for Justin is raging online, all the comments are only about this, as if society no longer has any doubts about what ordeals he had to go through on the way to fame. But what's there Bieber? Have you ever seen Eminem, who buried entire rap careers with his devastating who always didn't care who to feud with, suddenly apologizing for some one line? He did it only once in his life, and of course, to Diddy. And here, no matter how you spin it, there can be no other explanation than fear. Even such large-scale personalities feel fright. At a minimum. We don't state this as a fact, but there are already active rumors circulating about the participation in those parties of even the mayor of New York. This is told by Diddy's former bodyguard, who now works in law enforcement. According to him, the rapper organized very wild parties in bathhouses. Honestly, I haven't seen any information regarding this connection, but even here I begin to see suspicious moments. Look, it's impossible to say for sure when Megan Fox started attending these parties and what role she could have played there. But, despite the absence of incredible talent, she also gained popularity in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Like it or not, she became a world star. And already having star status, she often visited Combs parties. Megan Fox's young man in recent years is Machine Gun Kelly, a rapper who has always remained a niche performer and gathered small clouts. But around the time he got involved with Megan, he suddenly started playing stadium concerts. I really like his work in recent years, but this connection catches the eye. And you know what else happened in his career? Diddy became his producer. This does not necessarily mean that Machine Gun Kelly is somehow involved in the aforementioned parties, but all these facts are too intertwined with each other. In the West, an episode of The Simpsons is now being discussed extremely actively, in which exactly those infamous white parties of Diddy are shown. Crowds of people, all dressed in white, armed security, and in the midst of this is a woman who looks very much like Beyoncé. Just look for yourself. Either the creators of the animated series somehow incredibly predicted the future, or someone involved in creating the content of The Simpsons has connections with high-ranking individuals. You can't say otherwise. Diddy's unfathomable wealth is also troubling. After all, he was never a top rapper or businessman number one, but his lifestyle and influence indicate that he is one of the main figures in the industry. Why so? Is it all because of compromising material on influential people? Or because of the astronomical sums of money that he probably received by providing prohibited services to billionaires? Write in the comments if you believe that Diddy is really involved in all this. Or do you still think it's an exaggeration? And in general, are you now disappointed in Hollywood and the global show business? Or did you guess about this before? If you still have doubts, or someone will call me a conspiracy by the way, I never believed in various conspiracy theories, then just think about it. All these hints from influential persons, facts, allegories, testimonies of victims, and the constant adventures of wealthy, famous, and popular people in nice suits precisely to Diddy's mansion. This cannot in any way be a simple coincidence. Everything is too interconnected. Ask yourself, why would DiCaprio, Usher, or any other rapper, artist, or even politician dress in white again and again and visit Diddy to drink a glass of champagne? It's just stupid, especially after the discovery of thousands of bottles of baby oil and lube in his house. Seriously, if you believe in such accidents, then you, not me, are naive. I just don't think it's possible to attract so many people continuously for many years just for ordinary parties. Everyone around is hinting, but they are afraid to speak about it openly. It is quite likely that Diddy is not even the main one in this hierarchy. Perhaps there is someone higher than him, and he is only a key figure at this stage, and his influence is due to the influence of those who stand above him, a certain roof or something like that. But this is already from the realm of conspiracy theories. But it's hard to doubt what we see now, the arrest, the charges, the findings in his house. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Until next time, friends.